Hi from the
English Sisters
Welcome to Get Real
with the English Sisters.
Hello everyone.
Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about
Gut instinct.
gut instinct.
And should you follow it?
Yeah, should you follow
What
your
is
instinct?
the gut? This puncher, the tummy.
The tummy.
I mean, you get a lot of feelings in your gut,
You
don't
certainly
you?
do, yeah. It's like when the first thing, like if you're nervous, a lot of people
Want to
their
go to the toilet straight away, don't
Well, that's because they want to release.
they? Yeah.
Getting ready for the flight.
For
The fight or flight?
for flight.
For flight.
To avoid
Or
the
fight. Or we're getting our tongues twisted now with this podcast. Fight or flight. Yes, it's one of those, isn't it? That's why you release.
Yeah.
And that's why you can't eat either if you're
that's
getting
it.
ready for it.
Sometimes you like, or when you feel upset, your stomach suddenly closes off,
Because of course you can't, your body can't begin to think about digestion when it's in a state of getting ready to escape.
But
the
what's
fighting
that got
or-
to do with gut instinct, though?
It's got nothing to do. I don't
Just
know what.
talking about the gut.
Well, because this is Get Real, isn't it? I mean, you go from one subject to another,
I
but
suppose
generally,
so. But you have to. Some people don't like to talk about the fact they have to go to the toilet, do they?
well, you don't want to go on and on about it. We all have to go to the toilet.
No, but I mean when you have to, do a number two.
So you mean some people don't want to talk about it, but
Well,
it's only a
yeah.
natural
It's
physiological
a natural
thing
physiological response, though, isn't it?
to when you become anxious. I think,
Yeah.
but I think that's more about anxiety than gut feeling, isn't it?
No, but I suppose so. But if your gut feeling is telling you not to do something, then you might have to go to the toilet
Well,
to
yeah.
release, because you think you're frightened. The fear comes in.
Yeah.
I think gut instinct usually your gut instinct is usually not to do something more than to do it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, it's like,
Because you wouldn't have a gut instinct if it was to do it. You just want to do it.
I think the gut instinct is there to protect you and to help you survive in this world. So I think if you go too far away from it and you're not in tune with it, then sometimes you can have problems, can't you? It's like...
Well, this professor from UCL, she says, she's Sarah Garfunkel, PhD, neuroscientist. She's based at University College of London, and she's quoting her. She says, "The capacity to tap into and be guided by those signals gives us a route to gut instinct, which bypasses higher order awareness mechanisms that don't yet have access to that information. In other words, sometimes the body knows before the mind does," she says. So sometimes...
There you go. The body knows before
Yeah.
the mind.
So your body already is telling you
To evacuate.
to evacuate and not do, or not
to
do,
eat. To
Yeah,
get ready.
get ready.
For fight or flight. You can't say that, can you? All right. For fight or flight. Yes. It's telling you to get ready for it. So, I mean, your gut instinct. I mean, I remember parking in this dark car park once, and I thought,
Oh, I was terrified.
I'm terrified of them.
Do you remember when we went into Rome and we parked outside? We kept thinking everyone was following us back to the car park. We were so
But maybe we
scared.
weren't that far off, because it
Yeah,
was
it
a
was
dodgy
dodgy
area. We
area.
had to go for this meeting, and we don't normally go to that area. It was pretty scary. Come on.
Yeah.
And what did our gut instinct say there?
run.
To run. We started running. I think we had to get on the underground, didn't we? We had to get off the underground, and that was it.
In the metro.
Yeah, that was a dodgy area. And
Because we live outside central Rome, so usually we go to places by car, because it's mostly, I mean, you can go by bus, but you have to wait for hours around here because it's very countrified.
yeah, very, very
It's very countryside.
countrified. We're countrified. You've just invented a new word. There you go. Are you countrified? Do
We're
you live in the
countrified.
country?
We're not used to the big we are when we travel.
Well, yeah.
But,
I mean, come on, we come from London. Let's not make us sound like
know,
little
but
country
now
bumpkins.
we
Now we
live
live in Italy, yes, on
very
the
calm
outside
country life.
in the country life. Yes, that's true.
Anyway, it was dark and it was night.
my gut instinct told me let quick.
But unfortunately, in those days we used to wear heels, so it was a bit dodgy, wasn't it?
God, that was
couldn't
terribly
run like
dodgy.
we can now.
No, I know, yeah.
Because
We
now
couldn't
we
run.
don't wear, I suppose, after the pandemic, and I don't think
You
that many
lose it.
people do they?
Kind of lost the heel
And
thing.
you feel so free without the heels.
Well, you're not as fragile, that's for sure. But I mean, heels are lovely too. It depends where
They're
you're
very
going. Come on,
glamorous.
they're super glam. We love them, but
And maybe put them in a bag and take an extra pair of shoes.
yeah, definitely.
Trainers to run.
To run and get out of there and follow your gut instinct. The thing is, I mean, I think like now on media and that social media, there's a lot of this hype around follow your gut instinct. But what if you don't really know what your gut instincts tell you? What if you're affected by anxiety, for example?
Exactly. Or what if your upbringing, you haven't had very good role models either.
So that all your life and all your childhood, you're taught that what you think is the
good.
right way to
Yeah.
go. Somebody says, no, that's not the right way. You're doing the wrong thing. That's not right. Then what happens
Or what if
there?
they put you down as well? People put you down and say you can't do that. That's not for you.
Well, as therapists, we know that the difference between following your gut instinct, if you're in a calm and you're mentally healthy, which very few of us are, but if you are, mentally healthy, you'll know when and you'll know what your gut feeling is telling you to do, and it'll be okay. But I think if you suffered from any form of anxiety or abuse in your childhood, then you might not really know
what's right and what's not okay. Maybe you think that's okay and it isn't. So then what would you do then? You wouldn't really trust your gut instinct. What would you do?
Well, I think, like, for example, the dark car park. Let's go back there. I think if you park, like, kind of somebody that hasn't had this traumatic childhood, for example, you park in the car park and you feel frightened.
It's an eerie
The gut
feeling.
oh yeah,
Like in the films.
eerie feeling. Yeah, you have that eerie.
There's no one around.
Yeah, all right. There's no one around, and
You're on your own.
Yeah, and you know that you look around and you think, oh God, that. And so then I think for you to listen to your gut feeling and say, let me get out of here as fast as I can, get in the car, lock the doors and get out of there. That's a good feeling. But if you're feeling anxious, then if this feeling lasts for too long, then I think that's the difference between gut feeling and anxiety, because it can last for that period of time for you to, in order for you to make, get out of there, get out of that tricky situation. But if it continues over the days and weeks to come, then I think that's when the gut feeling is not, or some, do you know what I'm talking about? You understand what I'm saying?
If it continues, you mean if when you get home and you're safe,
yes,
then you think, oh, that was horrible, I'm not doing that again, and then you might not want to go out next time.
Well,
And you might say no, and then your friend phones you up and says, do you want to come to this meeting? You say, no, I'm scared of the dark. I'm not going out because it's too scary. You mean and then it can turn into almost like a mild phobia.
Yeah.
Where you just, and then you stop yourself from doing things.
Well, I didn't even think of that. I was just thinking they might just continue doing it, but feel so, not going to the dark car park, but continue going out, but just having that sense of anxiety with them.
But they should
like they can't shake the feeling off.
Yeah, but what if they're always in a dark car park? I mean, that's a bit like common sense, isn't it? It's a bit dangerous in dark car parks on your own.
Well, yeah.
Or
obviously.
Like
all right, let's not make it so tragic. For example, since we're talking about the toilet, you get up in the night and you walk to the toilet. The first time you do that, you bang your foot.
Yeah.
Because you hurt your foot, you hurt your big toe. Okay.
Really bad.
Well, not really
You
bad.
break it.
Oh, for goodness sake, it's all very tragic with you today, isn't it? It doesn't.
I think it'd be just a little tiny bash, you wouldn't care.
No, a bash that hurts.
Hurts a lot.
You don't have to break it, but something that hurts. The next time, either you think, I'm not going to the toilet in the dark. What will your gut instinct tell you the next time?
Take a torch.
Take a torch.
Take my phone with me.
And make sure your feet are in safe places when you're walking
Make
around.
sure you don't leave anything out, like
Exactly,
slippers.
yeah, like slippers. There's
Shoes that you've left, because sometimes I leave my shoes out.
yeah, you've got a bit. You should listen to this because you fell down the other day. You fell over that cable. You've got to be careful. Yeah, your gut instinct, you have to finely tune it to look
When
out
I was
for danger.
putting the cable away, I was thinking, this is dangerous.
There you go.
Yeah,
There
there
you-
was the gut instinct. I was thinking, this cable is dangerous in
Come on,
this position.
that is a perfect example of what I'm saying.
But then I was aware of it and I still fell over. So we can't do anything.
Do you know why? Because you didn't listen to your gut instinct. If you'd listened carefully enough, you would have put it away and think, oh, danger, danger.
I would have got someone else to put it away.
I bet you the next time you see that
I've
cable,
moved
you
it.
won't
I've
fall
moved
over
the
it
print.
again.
Well, probably not, no.
No, you will not. We're full of cables here.
It's like a danger zone if you can see it. If you're watching on YouTube, all around us we've got lights and about 1,000 million cables.
Cables. I mean,
And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, you'll know it's like that.
you will
There's
know.
so many
There's
cables.
so many cables around.
There's
Cables.
danger everywhere here.
Well,
I mean, they say the house is the most dangerous place to be in.
they do, don't they? So you always have to take care. That's when, like, when you're climbing on a chair, think,
Yeah.
danger, danger. I mean, come on.
We're going to be giving people phobias.
We're supposed to be helping them. No, what I mean
We're
is,
supposed to
come
be
on.
helping you. Look, the gut instinct is if you feel that something is dangerous, don't do it.
Exactly. It's like the case of our friend, one of our friends. She's also a
she's a
therapist,
therapist.
and she had clients come into the home. She was a very experienced therapist, so
Yeah, very well.
very well known, very experienced, and she
Harley Street.
yeah, and unfortunately she had somebody come into her home when she was
But
the mi-
the frightening thing about that is that it was a client that she'd seen for ages. Like she'd seen him for many times. I think
Really?
over a
I
year.
didn't get that.
Yeah, it wasn't a new. She knew him.
but she
she
said
thought she knew him.
but she felt that gut feeling this time when
This
she opened
time,
the door.
when she opened the door, because I think normally she used to see him in her studio, but this time he phoned her desperate, saying, "Can I come and see you? Can I really need to see you? I really need to see you." And then when she opened the door, she saw he had drinks in
Yeah,
his hand. Or
he
something,
had
a bottle of
bottles,
vodka
yeah,
or something.
yeah.
And she said, "My gut instinct was not to let him in. I'm
and
getting
to
the
close
shivers." Yeah.
to close the
Or
door.
to make a quick say, "Oh, sorry, I've got to get something," and just shut the
She
door in his
didn't,
face.
but she didn't listen.
She didn't listen.
I wish she had.
No, I've got shivers now.
Yeah, because
thinking
she had a
about it.
horrible in the
Yeah,
end.
She got raped. It was
yeah, it was
just
awful.
terrible for her.
Yeah, I wish she had.
Terrible.
So I mean, how if there's a lesson to be learned in this is that the gut instinct is there to help you. It's not all about listening to your gut instinct to know what career to choose and things like
No.
that, because I think that's some people, they say like, "Hey man, just listen to your gut instincts. Do you want to be with that person or not? Do you want to do this or not? Do you want to get the job or not?" Some people just don't know because it's not that strong, the gut instinct. But in a case of survival, or when
But
you think,
sometimes if you can be a bit naive as well, you can be young, you might not have had much experience. In this case, she was an experienced therapist and she had a lot of experience. and
Exactly.
she
That's why it was
So
shocking.
really, I mean,
so you still put
I
aside.
think you put it aside, but I also think that if it does happen to you, you can't really be that hard on yourself because there's
No,
so
you
many
cannot.
nuances. There's so many nuances, and you could.
Education, culture,
Yes.
it's rude.
It's rude, yeah.
It's so unpolite to do this.
If this person needs help,
yeah,
it makes sense.
it's so unpolite.
Yeah, but I mean, so many women and men get raped like that, don't they?
Yeah, by
It's
people they know,
terrible.
by
people
colleagues.
they know, or people that put them into difficult situations. They pressure them into thinking it's okay. And I mean, I'm sure most of you have had some kind of experience of this or other where you've had mate, you've got away from it.
A close encounter.
Because I mean, I remember when I used to hitchhike with my boyfriend.
Goodness me, that was
In those
so
days,
dangerous.
we used to hitchhike, and once we got a lift from this couple, And they offered us, and we didn't. It was night, and we didn't have, and we thought we're safe because we're a couple, and, it's a girl and a boy, and they're not going to try anything on or anything. But when we were in their house,
They
no,
did.
they didn't.
No,
No,
they
they
didn't.
didn't. When we were at their house, we suddenly thought, God, this is dangerous.
Let's get out of there.
We didn't kind of think.
Well, that's what happened to me when I went
Our gut
hitchhiking.
instinct was correct because they were lovely people. They didn't do nothing. They did nothing to us. They even gave us their room, which was, they were adorable.
Oh.
So there was nothing, but you kind of you see, there the gut instinct would have been, no, we shouldn't go to their house.
So you were dominated by fear.
That was more fear, but what if it hadn't turned out right though? I mean, I think naivety. In those days we were young and naive. Now I wouldn't do that.
No.
I would not go to someone's house.
What about me when I left with our cousin?
Yeah, yours was.
We were just two girls.
Yeah, that was really terrible.
They
you got
did it.
into tricky situations there.
We did, yeah.
I mean, you would never do that again now, hitchhike like that.
Well, not now, but I mean,
but you wouldn't want your children to do it, would you? When they're grown up now.
No,
but
even if I
my
had the
daughter's
chance to-
terrified when she hears these stories. She said, "Mum, how could you have done that?" Even with Dad.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you only get one chance at life, don't you? If you could live it all over again and learn from your past experiences all over again, like
no,
now,
I would go by train now.
That's what I mean. I wouldn't do it either. No. And yet, when you're naive,
and yet you met your love of your life.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I had so many close encounters with really dangerous situations, though. But our gut instinct there was very strong, I must say. We listened to it.
Mm-hmm.
Me and
you were okay.
Yeah, me and our cousin. we got invited there.
I thought you were mad going hitchhiking.
No, we got invited to the house in France as well. But then we understood that there was
yours was a tricky one in France.
We did get offered a lovely meal and everything, but then there was a time when I thought, oh, let's get out of here. Because I don't know if it's a ménage à trois, ménage à quatre. I don't know what was going on there, but something was going on. And yeah, that was, and we left. It was like in 1 o'clock at night, we just went off. And I remember thinking, come on, let's get out of here. Quick, let's get out. Where are our bags? You're always looking for the bags to think, grab your bag and get out. But yeah, that was in that case. And come on, there are so many women that do say, I wish for one split second I had listened to our colleague.
Yeah.
I wish I'd listened, she said. I wish I'd just closed the door and said, not today.
So I think what we can do is we can learn from other people's experience, can't we?
We can.
I would learn from that. I would never do that now.
Oh, no. So the mind knows before the body.
It's lovely for us now because we work online a lot, so you don't have that. But as women as well, it's always a bit, even in today's age, it's always a bit, you never know who you're going to be working with, and you're always, if you go to their place of work, it's safe because everyone else is there usually, unless it's a closed office. But even then, it's not always the case. So I think you do have to sort of safeguard yourself.
You have to listen in. You have to. Well, yeah, I mean, this is going down a different route, but not really, because we're talking about gut instinct, which is to protect and to keep yourself to protect and to survive. Yeah.
Survival of the fittest.
But what about if your
survival
gut,
of those who listen to their gut instinct the most?
Yeah, but what if you haven't, like what we were saying before, if your gut instinct isn't finely tuned and it's kind of... what if you're always in that state of anxiety because of the way...
then I think you should really get some help, shouldn't you?
Yeah,
because I think that really helps.
Getting help.
Yeah, there's no stigma around it now. So
No.
Maybe ask a friend as well. Maybe someone that says...
Here it says, I mean, the actual definition of... Are we talking about instinct? I thought I got another one wrong. The ability to understand something instinctively without the need for conscious reasoning. We shall allow our intuition to guide us. So intuition and instinct, in this case, in the Webster Dictionary, it's the same definition.
Yeah, I think, but because the body knows before the mind. So before it's like an unconscious process. Before your
Yeah.
conscious mind has the time to think about it, you already know. Let's get out of here. This is dangerous.
Yeah.
Careful, careful.
Careful, careful. Danger,
And then a
danger.
lot of the time you think, this is dangerous. Careful, careful. And then the person or the situation can be, no, it's not. It's okay. I'm being too fearful. And then
Yeah,
no.
why? What you worried about? Yeah.
But then no, because that's a thing to be mindful of. It's an instinct that's innate in you.
Yes, and it really does just last
And
like
I
a few
think maybe
seconds
even
or
if
even...
you have been abused and that, unless it's been a very terrible, terrible situation, but for most people, even if you have had abuse, there's a part of you that knows that it's not right.
to get
Unless
out
you've
and be
been
careful.
very, very sheltered in a kind of community that everyone's abusive and you really have no idea because
You're used to
you're
that.
just
Yeah.
being used to that and you've been brought up like that. But I
That's
think
really sad, yeah.
that's very sad. But I think for most people, there will be a part of them, even if they have had an abusive past or whatever, that they know that there's something not quite right there. And then maybe in that situation, trust your gut, and then maybe go and ask other people as well and get some help or get some
support,
advice, get support.
Definitely. I mean, when we were growing up, our mum used to talk about instinct a lot, didn't she?
She would tell us a lot of stories that we would learn from.
Yeah.
I think maybe then in those days they'd tell more stories because maybe you had more time.
I didn't really think they actually would say, gut instinct, and let's talk about this. It was just storytelling.
Storytelling that was
especially
warn
with
you.
us.
I mean, even from when you're little, you have the big bad wolf, don't you? Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, that
That's
she...
a
Oh,
gut
that,
instinct.
you're right. Yeah, God, yeah, that's a gut instinct. If ever there was one. She goes back with him, doesn't she?
She gets eaten. I know we're laughing, but it's not funny.
No, it's not. Yeah, she does get eaten. She had so many warning signs. What did she give him? I can't remember.
can't
She was supposed to give him some... I know, she was taking the basket of food and honey
He
for...
wooed her.
He wooed her?
Yeah, because he dressed up or something with the cape. Little Red Riding Hood. Didn't he dress up or
that's
something?
so...
Like
if
a
you...
grandma or something.
Oh, yeah, he like a grandma. He pretended to be the grandma. I didn't used to like that story when I was a kid. It was scary.
We had our gut instinct. We didn't like it because we knew it was scary.
I hated that one, yeah. I much preferred the one about the fairies and things like that. There was so much...
the
The
fairies.
Wonderland or the Magic Tree and things like that.
those were wonderful.
They would just take you down a wonderful path of fantasy. Not these ones where the wolf would come. That was
They were useful though, weren't they?
Yeah, now
do
they kind of
teach you. They're kind
learning.
of teaching
They're definitely teaching.
tales.
Yeah, and I guess they kind of unconsciously go with you, don't they?
Well, I think
For
so,
the rest
yeah.
of your life
Yeah,
when you hear these stories as a child. And then, it's... I suppose they're very useful. What can I say? Yeah, you don't want to read the story about the big bad wolf to your little sweet 5-year-old. But if you do, maybe then they recognise the wolf's, the metaphor of the wolf is around anywhere for future references in life. This is all going down a very... I thought it was supposed to be like light and airy. We're going down the doom and gloom. Do you know why we're doing it though? Because obviously gut instinct,
we care
in most
about-
cases, we care about you, and in most cases, when you do have to... It's not always... It doesn't have to be so tragic. A lot of the time, you go for an interview and you really want that job, and then your gut instinct, you look around and you say, my gut instinct is telling me I don't want to work
really
here.
boring here.
Yeah, or I don't want to work here. I just don't like the environment. I don't want to work here.
And then it's
But then
really,
you
but
take
then it's
the
really
job.
well paid or something. Or it's why would you take it if your gut instinct's telling you that?
Because you think, there's not that many jobs around.
I'm desperate.
Well, I don't know if you're desperate, but yeah, if you haven't got an employment at the moment, you might take it. But then you really know that's not really what you wanted to do. Your gut instinct would say, no, not necessarily go and fly a kite, but do something different. But then you didn't listen to your gut instinct because you put it aside.
That was in Mary Poppins, wasn't it? Is that where you got it from? Because the father was a banker.
I just said go and fly kites. Like,
Yeah, because the father in Mary Poppins wanted to fly a kite.
really?
Well, he didn't want to, but he never used to have time to. He was a banker. He was really boring.
Oh.
And he always used to be working. And the children were always saying, "Come fly a kite with us."
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, but that was probably unconscious from when you were little, because you watched it together.
Well, probably. Yeah, that was amazing. First time we saw Mary Poppins. God. Yeah.
They've made the sequel now. Have you seen it?
No,
Very
you
sweet.
know I haven't seen it.
It's on the telly.
Was it? Oh no,
It's
I
on
haven't.
Netflix. Or not, or
Really?
was it on Prime? Yeah.
No, I don't
It's
think.
called something Mr. Banks.
Are
I
they
think.
still Jane and Michael?
Mm.
Oh,
But they're grown up now.
my God, you're joking.
It's really cute. They're grown up, and then I can't even. I'm going to watch it again because the first time I watched it, I didn't like it
You
much.
see, the thing about Mary Poppins
because
is
I
it's
was
quite.
comparing it to when I was little, and I'm watching it as an adult.
Yeah, it's
But
very
the
different when you watch
second time
them.
I watched it again at Christmas. I think last Christmas or the Christmas before, probably 2 years ago now, because I can't remember what happens. And I loved it. I thought it was really cute.
Yeah, it's very different when you're old.
No, but it's still
Older.
cute.
When you're older, when you watch a movie, when you're a baby, when you're a child, it's so much different.
Saying I'm old.
No.
Only 1 year older.
If you're old, I mean, we're both old. No, I'm not saying that. No. I just said, I didn't think about Mary Poppins. I wasn't going that far, but I was
Well,
just,
that's what they wanted. He wanted to fly a kite.
well, yeah. You can't always go and fly kites, so can you?
No, sometimes
gotta
you have
get
to be
real
practical
work.
and realistic. But I think if you are being practical and realistic and you know that you need that job, that's different because you think, I'm going to take this job now.
And you get a sense of pride in
Yeah,
it because
because
you're
I need it
earning
and
the money.
and it's useful for me at this moment of time. But then I'm still going to keep my mind open to other opportunities
And still have time to go and fly the kite if I want to, at the weekends or whatever, yeah. So you saying that gut instinct really is only in the cases of danger, then it doesn't really have to come into our awareness.
Yeah, I think mostly just danger.
What about when you fall in love with someone? Is that like, or you think, oh, my gut
Well,
instinct?
that's dangerous if it says I'm falling in love with this person. My gut instinct said they're not right for me.
Yeah, because I think a lot of women
There's
do choose the
danger.
wrong men and men choose the wrong women.
Yeah, if their gut instinct is telling you that it's not right, there probably is something that's not quite right.
Well, there you go.
Sometimes it's tricky as well because
That's
it's not
very
definable.
tricky. No, it's slippery, isn't it? Slippery slope because you want that person to be the right one.
Yeah.
Because you might be looking and looking, and then you
You're
find,
trying to fit,
and then you try and make them, like fit
trying
into
to fit them into to what you wanted.
to what you imagined.
Yeah, but there's a sneaky part of them.
Yeah. If there's a sneaky part of them, I'd say get
There's
away.
that one thing you don't like about them.
And that
maybe they're
one
not
thing-
very generous, or
Stingy.
they talk badly about people. There's some one thing that if only they didn't do that, they'd be okay.
I never had that.
No, I
feeling.
never did either. But you know, some of our
God,
clients
definitely.
do, and our friends have as well.
No, but not now with our husbands. I never ever had that
No.
feeling, and my gut feeling said he's a very good person. No, honestly, I remember thinking.
Why are you saying honestly? I believe you.
That's the way you're
Because I know him.
You know
I
him,
know
yeah.
him is a very good person.
And I thought very good person, my gut feeling. But I mean, the
like a
situation.
good soul.
The situation which we encountered was quite weird, hitchhiking and everything. So it could have been scary as well. But I knew that he was a good pea.
So you trusted your gut, and your gut was correct.
Yeah,
Your gut feeling was that this person.
Well, the
is
very,
good.
yeah. I remember the first time I actually saw him with 3 or 4 of his friends. I thought, my goodness,
Friends are dodgy.
I did. I remember looking at a window, thinking, "Where's the escape route?" Because they took us to the apartment there, and that's a whole nother story. But yeah, that was pretty. And I do remember thinking, but then when I actually spoke to him alone, I felt calm, and I thought, no, he's a good one. Yeah, but what happens if you you get that the gut feeling of saying no, there's something not quite right, but then you just go ahead with it. I think that's what can lead to bad relationships, isn't it?
Definitely. Yes. And then you might find it further down the line. Or what about when your gut instinct says, I shouldn't have a child, but I want to have one, kind of to fix a relationship. But your gut instinct is saying, no,
It's not the right time. Yeah.
Yeah. But then you go ahead, and then afterwards, you're maybe in a bad relationship. You get stuck in a corner.
Yeah, more
There's something,
complications. Yeah. So it's not just about, really surviving and all these dramatic things we've been saying, like rape and awful things. It's also about, trusting your gut feeling when you meet people as well, which is often the very first, last like 1 second.
The first impression.
Exactly. The first impression
Last,
also comes with a
that
gut
comes with the
feeling.
gut. Because then you're like, I don't like to say word judging, but the word is there. You immediately
You're scanning
judge.
them, aren't you?
Scan
in
the
your
person
eyes
to
and
see, is this person safe? They nice?
Exactly. There's a lot of scanning going on in first impression.
That's why they say first impressions are so important. But there's certain things. It's not just about how they look, what they're wearing.
Oh no.
It's about how their body
It's
language.
about the feeling as well.
It's the body language. Is it congruent?
Is it congruent with
Does it
what they're
match
verbalizing?
what they're saying.
Yeah.
If there's a mismatch in
You'd
what
be
they're
surprised
saying,
with
how
body
scary that is.
Yeah, body language is so.
That if someone's telling you something and there's a mismatch in what their body language and what they're saying, you will notice it, and that will be in the gut. You'll feel that in the gut that there's something wrong with that person.
What do you mean by that, though?
Well, you feel it. You feel this person's
No, I
not
know
trustworthy.
you can feel it, but what do you mean by the mismatch? I mean, I know what you're talking about.
Are you trying to be clever now? You
Yeah.
tell me what you mean.
You have to explain it though,
Put me on
don't
the
you?
test now.
Because you're good at it, aren't
Like
you?
if you're saying if your body language is saying, oh,
For example, what are they doing? They're nodding their head in a yes position.
yeah, but sometimes in agreement you can say no as well.
Yeah, so that's a tricky one.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. But like if they're, for instance, if their body language is, I don't know how to explain it. You kind of know. I don't think it needs explanation because it's instinctual. You know, when you say, I met that person, they're really nice, but then some psychopaths are supposed to be really clever like that. So that's a bit tricky as well. Some people learn.
We're not talking about
just normal
people.
Come
on, yeah, the normal relationships, because we're always going down the therapist part here, but this is just like, we don't, because it's difficult for us to divide it, but this is get real.
Like
it's more
if their body language is open and smiley and their faces are smile, but if they got like a fake smile, you can see it's not like coming from here. You can kind of tell that.
Well, there's a lot of things that you can tell. Like if they're saying I don't know if you're watching us on YouTube, but if you can see it, I've got my arms folded like that, and I'm having.
But some people might fold their arms because they're cold, though.
No. When they're cold, it's more like that. When they're just like all closed in, and say, I'm having a really good time. Mind you, this sounds like somebody out in England when it's cold. It's having a really good time because I'm all huddled up with my arms crossed like this, but.
No, I don't think it's as basic as having your arms crossed and saying in the power position and all this. That everyone knows that you shouldn't fold your arms because that's closing yourself off. I don't think it's not as easy as that. It's more like the way, it's the way your the mouth is, the eyes,
way the head moves towards
the
you.
the way your body moves all together. You can kind of see if you can trust that person.
Yeah.
But still be careful.
Yeah,
that would be no, you don't have to be if you're on your own. And obviously, I think common sense.
Yeah.
But like you say, not everyone has had common sense because not everyone's
not
been
being
taught.
installed. So we know this because of the therapy part. Yeah, we know.
But you can learn common sense.
You
as
can,
well.
yeah.
And common sense is, don't go out at night. If you're going out at night, go out with your friends. Make sure you're always in a nice group. All these,
normal things of common sense, yeah.
Don't go to people's houses for the first time and things like that because you can get into trouble. You can get into dangerous situations.
Definitely.
So what? Trust your gut? To trust or not to trust your gut?
I would say trust.
So would I.
Trust, but then if the trust, if it leaves a feeling of lingering anxiety, you've got to let that go.
Yeah.
Don't, and because it's only the gut feeling serves a purpose for that moment, and if you don't listen to it, we'll keep on reminding you. That's the funny thing. If you don't listen to your gut feeling the first time, the next time you encounter that person, it will tell you again. Or if you actually get involved in the relationship, your gut feeling will always say, there's something not quite right about this. There's something not quite right. It could also come up, for example, when you're not feeling well. I had a time when I wasn't feeling well a couple of months ago, and I had this voice in my head that kept on saying, "You're not well."
But you didn't tell me, did you?
I did tell you. You knew all about it. I kept on telling you I had this
I
voice.
kept saying I had to take you to the hospital and you were saying you were fine.
That's because
Because you were so convincing. I didn't take her.
in the end, I didn't listen
She had a
to.
medical emergency.
I had an emergency because I wasn't, but I kept on kind of thinking. I remember, this is it. I remember the gut feeling of saying, but then pushing it away, thinking,
pushing it away. So
"Oh,
don't push it away.
I'm really not well." Gosh, I even had a thought once. I think I should be in hospital. And I thought, don't be ridiculous. But then it was like a fleeting second thing, and then I said, "What are you talking about? Don't be crazy, you know." But then in the end, I did have to go into hospital with an emergency. But I wish I had listened.
Yeah, it would have been better if you'd listened.
So that's what I mean. The gut feeling can serve for many things. It's instinct.
Yeah, so get checked out if you have a gut feeling, basically.
Yeah,
and if you have a gut feeling that I need to go to hospital, unless you have
hypochondria, and you're always
unless
thinking
you're
these
always
things,
thinking these things, you have got that. But if you haven't, and you're normally, I mean, like you always think you're fine.
Yeah, I've got the opposite.
You've got the opposite. So I think if you do, you should trust your gut.
Yeah, when in doubt, check it out. Definitely.
That's what we learned from that experience. When in doubt, check it out. Go to the hospital.
Go to the doctor.
In the times of pandemic and everything, it's more difficult, but still go, because afterwards you'll be grateful.
They can save your life. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, goodness me. Yeah. So basically, your gut feeling is there all the time, and it won't stop talking to you until you do something about it.
That's quite comforting in a way.
It is comforting, because it's like protecting you all the time. Because I remember with me, it was telling me, "You're not well, you're not well, you're not well." And I would just say, "Oh, just get lost," sort of thing. Go away. Yes, I'm perfectly fine. You convince yourself. And
it's okay. It'll pass. Take some painkillers.
Yeah. I'll be fine. But yes, that's what it's there for, isn't it? So listen, learn, and act on it.
Act on it and
listen.
When in doubt, check it out.
Yeah, when in doubt, check it out. And when you have the gut feeling about a person, a job, or anything really, I would definitely say look into it. Look into it
fully.
Look into it fully and listen. Because it's there for a reason.
I was going to say sometimes you can have. I was going to say sometimes it can be the opposite. Say like if you've always been in like some of my clients, if you've always been in an abusive relationship, like the person's always treated you badly.
When you want to go back to that.
Then your gut feeling, if you're in a healthy relationship or with a really nice person, then you might be thinking something's not quite right here. Something's not quite. This person's just too nice. They're just too nice. It's not quite right. It's not quite right. So your gut could be telling you the opposite. It's not quite right. Because you're just not used to, because it's the learned pattern that you just want to repeat to feel comfortable.
Yeah, because you want to go back to your comfort zone, what you know to be safe,
comfortable and safe.
Yeah. So if you're in an abusive relation, you kind of get used to that in the end, and you think that's normal for me, and we all want to be normal and stay normal because that keeps us alive. So you stay with that. In that case, obviously, that's a case where perhaps
not to trust your gut. If you're the nice person and everyone says they're a nice person and you know they're nice, but you've been used to being in an abusive relationship, don't trust your gut when you're with a nice person and stick it out. So you develop a new habit of being with a nice person that treats you properly and treats you with respect.
Yeah,
and has your best interest at heart.
Yeah, we had a client like that once. Yeah, I know what you're thinking about. That's so true. Yeah, gut instinct. So was saying there's something not.
Yeah, that would be not to trust your gut in that case, because your gut instincts have been messed
Well, I
up.
suppose the best thing really is when in doubt, just check it out with your gut instinct as well. If you're in doubt, think about, why am I in doubt? Why do I have this feeling that's telling me this is wrong?
If you have time, but if it's like a tricky situation, don't bother. Just get out.
Just get out. Yeah, as fast as possible.
Don't check it out. Just don't do it.
Just don't. Yeah,
because there's
just
time
run.
to do it another day if you've checked it out.
This is in the case of relationships. The time when it's not immediate danger. Obviously, the car park, the person that you think might physically hurt you. Obviously, they're different situations, aren't they? They're more traumatic.
Well,
Oh, wow.
do you trust your gut instinct? Have you had any experiences with gut instinct? We'd love to hear from you.
Where you haven't trusted it and you thought,
Yeah.
I wish I had, or where you
Or vice
or
versa.
vice versa. Yeah, let us know.
Let us know.
Let us know.
And please remember to like and review. Give us a review because we're new with this podcasting business, aren't we?
Yeah, and you.
And we'd like to get it flying off the ground.
Absolutely.
Like the kite.
Yeah. Flying high.
And also, if you'd like to see us, come and watch us on YouTube as well, because it's on YouTube too. Lots of love and
of love.
smiles from the English sisters. Bye for now.